Okay, so welcome back. VidCon is over, you might have heard, and I have a lot of material left over from Anaheim that I want to share in the coming days, but first, there's something I want to talk about. In the first 2 days following the convention, reports were that YouTube had already received 9,000 VidCon-related videos. I'll assume you've watched all of those, plus whatever else has been uploaded in the time since then. Clearly, YouTube and VidCon have become a big thing. Some have questioned whether VidCon has become, in fact, too big. Now, I don't know whether that's true or even possible, but there is one concern that troubles me. At least two of the content creators who are most important to me, I'm looking at you, Michael Aranda and Maxwell Glick, have questioned whether they are still big enough, important, or relevant enough, or successful enough to have a place at VidCon. I want to put a stop to that right now. It is clearly time to reassess and redefine what it means to be successful on YouTube. And that probably means we need to reconsider the business model that lies at the heart of YouTube. For a long time, probably since day one, success on YouTube has been defined as a numbers game. The number of subscribers and the number of views are what matter most. In fact, they may be the only thing that matters. That same thinking may be spreading to the convention. Success today is defined by having numbers in the millions, and the epitome of success, the brass ring, the possibility of moving from YouTube to television. We hold out Grace Helbig's and the Fine Brothers' forays into television, and not coincidentally, the increasing appearance of actual television celebrities on YouTube as evidence that we are making it. I think that's wrong. I don't think that's a sign that we're making it. I think that's a sign we're forgetting it. It being the reasons we found YouTube so appealing in the first place 8 to 10 years ago. Basically, that television sucks. It's a medium that seeks to entertain as a means of captivating its audience, not of engaging with them. That kind of captivation demands huge audiences because of the two prevailing business models that television has lived with. The first being the advertising model, and the second being the pay-per-view model. YouTube has sought for many years to find success using the advertising model. And if there's one thing that YouTube users, whether they're viewers or content creators, can generally agree on, it's that advertising sucks. Whether it's a pop-up ad that covers up part of the video you're trying to watch, or a pre-roll ad you have to endure before seeing what you came for, nobody really likes advertising much. However, advertising has generally been considered preferable to the pay-per-view route because, let's face it, we all like getting our entertainment for free. Part of this is a generational phenomenon, born of the Napster age. And for those of you too young to remember, Napster was the original file-sharing network that nearly led to the downfall of the recorded music industry. Today, somehow, we expect to get all digital content, from music to videos to movies to online games, for free. Because, you know, they aren't created by people who need to eat or pay rent or anything like that. Digital artistry just appears magically on the internet, apparently produced by a new division of the Keebler Elves, maybe. There is a third route derived from the PBS model of voluntary user-supported funding. Patreon, which I heartily support, and Vessel, which I still tend to view somewhat skeptically, are two entities seeking to make this a workable solution. Unfortunately, YouTube hasn't seen fit to or particularly interested in pursuing or supporting these models. What I would like to see is YouTube making this a much easier path to support. Right now, you've got to feel a really compelling urge to support a creator on Patreon. You've got to go set up an account, you've got to commit to a level of giving, and it really feels like if you're not able to give a significant amount, it's probably not worth the trouble, either for you or even for the creator you're trying to support. I would like that process to be much simpler and have it go right through your YouTube account. Right now, YouTube lets you express your response to a video in only two ways. You can give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. You like it or you dislike it. I'd like to see a range of 3 tip responses. Buttons for 10 cents, 50 cents, and $1. If you wanted to give more than that, then yeah, go through Patreon. But you would have an account with YouTube, and they would process all your tips once a day or once a week or once a month, something, and combine all the tips clicked for a given creator and pay them out. I mean, a dime? Aren't most videos worth watching, worth paying 10 cents for? And yes, I think YouTube should get a share of that money because frankly, I worry about the possibility of losing YouTube. If the whole process was easier, if all it took was a click of the mouse button the same way you click on the like button now, I like to think more viewers would support their favorite creators than currently support them through Patreon or Vessel. I mean, if you had sat down and watched 10 good videos and Given a dime to each one, that would still only cost you $1, but those dimes would add up for the creators. And sure, maybe you decide that those creators who have 1 million viewers are living well enough off their advertising dollars, but you'd still be able to support the smaller creators that you like better. One extra advantage that I would imagine here is that creators wouldn't be forced to ask you at the end of every video to support them on Patreon, which is something I would guess that most of them just hate doing in the first place, to be honest. The mechanism would be right there and easy to use. Do waiters and waitresses have to remind you at the end of every meal you eat in a restaurant that you're supposed to tip them? Do they say, if you like this meal, please leave a tip of 15%? No, they don't. But we know to do that, most of us, hopefully. And if the process were simple enough, I think most of us could learn how to do the same thing for our favorite YouTube creators. Financial support. That is one thing I think that needs to change to help improve support for YouTubers with audiences that are listed in the thousands rather than in the millions. Hopefully, this wouldn't eliminate the accessibility that has always been a key magical element to the YouTube world. It needs to remain accessible to that 15-year-old high schooler, the 25-year-old grad student, the 35-year-old housewife, and yes, even the 57-year-old teachers out there. It must remain free to access as a viewer and free to join the world as a creator. You let everyone discover their place in this wonderful world of online video, and I don't doubt that eventually most of them will find a way to pay what it's worth to each individual. Beyond financial support, the second issue we need to address is deciding what VidCon is. We need to make conscious, rational decisions about who is there and why. If, as one argument goes, it is about bringing the biggest, most popular stars out so that their adoring publics can see them live and in person, that's one thing. But such an event becomes less a conference or a convention because there's really no convening or conferring. It is just a celebrity appearance. And yes, there may still be 20,000 people who want to pay a couple $100s to sit in a room with 2,000 other people in a room with Connor Franta or Smosh, but it's not me. In my 3 trips to VidCon, let me explain what has made it most worth the price of the ticket. It is not the huge crowds, but the small get-togethers. 3 years ago, I got to participate in a seriously underattended panel hosted by Hank Green discussing the responsibility that accompanies great viewership. I got to meet the No Bull guys, I got to meet Seth from the Water Project, and Celine from This Star Won't Go Out. It was an important topic and made a big impact on me. And even better, at the end of the panel, I got a chance to sit and talk one-on-one with Hank Green. We discussed the importance of communities and the dangers of having those communities turned into cloisters. It was one of the best conversations I ever had during one of the best hours of my entire life, and I will never forget it. That kind of success can't be measured in numbers. Then last year, I got up insanely early in the morning so that I could see both Hank and John in their signing line. That meeting's been pretty much documented in other earlier videos, and it was pretty special to me too. This year, I didn't get close to Hank Green even once. And I understand he's a very busy guy with huge demands on his time. And I still had a great VidCon. But the best panels and the most magical moments were also the furthest from the biggest crowds, even though they weren't on the 2nd or 3rd floors of the convention center. Meeting the gang from Shipwrecked Comedy out by the fountain, having a Disney sing-along with Maxwell Glick in front of the arena, running into Harry Potter and Harry and the Potters in the food court, and of course, hanging out with Michael Aranda and all his crew. And the panels were great too, but they were the relatively small panels, the kind where afterwards you could grab a word with Andrew Huang or Gunnarola or Craig Wheezy Waiter Benzine. They weren't the huge events where over 1,000 or 2,000 or 4,000 people gather into a hall to tell some awesome person how awesome they are, where the bulk of the conversation tends to be stories about awesome things they've gotten to do and how happy they are to be in front of such an awesome crowd, whether that's the thousands of people at the convention or the millions of people they talk to online. I enjoy the big events too, of course, the concerts, the opening and closing ceremonies, but if VidCon becomes a place where there is no room for the smaller creator, it will have totally lost sight of what made the world of online video so magic in the first place. If that happens, I'll be hoping that someone will pick up the ball and start again. It won't fill up the entire Anaheim Convention Center, of course. It might not do more than take up half the space of a hotel basement somewhere. But if it brings together creative people interested in connecting with one another through the medium of online video, that will be good enough. I will definitely want to be there. Creators like Michael and Maxwell and Mary-Kate and all the other stars whose viewerships are numbered in the thousands rather than the millions, and even creators smaller than myself, people who have viewers that are still numbered in the single digits. You are important. You create things that touch us, that teach us, that illuminate the world for us in ways that can never be measured by numbers alone. You change lives. If anyone belongs at a convention for online video, it's you. Are you with me on this, or is it all about big names? Why would you most want to go to VidCon? And if there was a 10-cent tip button that was easy to press as a like button, would you click it? Let me know down in the comments. Until next time, when I might still be talking about VidCon, because it is, after all, still the most wonderful time of the year. Don't forget to be awesome. And I will talk to you again soon, hopefully.